Hi, I'm Josh Whiteman with Garage Gurus, and today we want to check out this new tool called Gyraline. I've seen this tool online from time to time, and it kind of piqued my interest because it has the potential to make a big difference both at home and in the shop. A lot of us do side work at the house, and obviously we don't have an alignment rack there, so being able to rough in our alignment before the customer takes it and drives it, to get a complete alignment will really help out with tire wear and the quality of the job. So there's a great potential for use there. And I think it has the opportunity to kind of streamline inspection processes in the shop as well. Most shops only have one alignment rack. And a lot of the time we want to do an alignment inspection when it comes in for an oil change or tires or whatever the case may be. And the alignment rack could be tied up at that particular point in time. So if we can use this tool in the shop, again, to just maybe get a rough idea of how close or how off that alignment is, that way we can tell the front office if it needs to be sold or not. I think there's pretty good value there. We don't want to wait maybe 30 or 40 minutes for the alignment rack to free up. The customer's waiting, the longer they wait, the less likely they are to approve something like that. So again, this has the potential to really streamline a lot of things in the shop. Now, what we don't necessarily know is how accurate it is. So that's what we're going to kind of do today. I've already have this Wagoneer up on the Hunter alignment rack, and we did the alignment on it. We have all those measurements ready to go. I'm going to walk us through what it looks like to use this 3D printed device that your cell phone attaches to. Again, this is a pretty low cost option. Right now, it's about $160 for this 3D printed tool and unlimited use with the app. So this is relatively new. So the pricing structure has been changing a little bit. When I first bought it, it was about $40 for the tool, but then you had to pay tokens to use the app, and they kind of gotten away with that, which is probably for the better in the long run. So we're going to take all this with a grain of salt because they're still developing this app and this tool. They're supposed to become more and more accurate. So we're going to take that all into consideration when we continue to express our thoughts and opinions on this tool here. Okay, at this point we have the phone attached to our device here. We're going to run through this toe process. I think toe is probably our most critical angle. It's most likely to be off. So we're going to run through toe. It does measure camber, caster, and Ackerman angle. We're going to attempt to do camber. I think caster is still a little bit clunky and would require two people at this point. So we're going to probably hold off on that, but we could definitely measure toe. It does have two different options when it comes to measuring toe. We can measure toe just using the thrust angle, in which we go to all four wheels and gather our measurements. And then there's a body align method as well, which actually takes into account the body panels on the vehicle. If we do thrust angle, it really only shows us total toe. If we do the body align, it gives us total toe as well as individual toe, which I think is a little bit more handy and accurate. So I'm going to go through this body align process right now, and we'll see kind of how long it takes and what this process looks like. So we're going to get basically a reference point of this body line. And the best way I've seen and figured out how to do it myself is to get this corner of the window here. And we're actually going to select begin calibrate right hand base. And you're going to keep one of these corners stationary, and you're actually going to pivot the other side. And it's going to capture that body line. You can see it's got 20 out of 20 samples captured, and it's 100% accurate to the capture. So we're going to get the same reference point on the other side of the vehicle. We're going to begin left-hand calibration, and just like before, we're going to pivot this unit to get that capture. We got 20 out of 20 samples, and again, 100% accuracy. So we're going to save that. And now, as you can see, our surface profile has turned green. So we've kind of calibrated it to the body line. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the same position, and we're going to try to get that bubble gauge nice and green and centered. And we're going to tap that left front, or sorry, the left side of the body. We're going to switch over to the right side now. We're going to do the same thing. Center it. Okay, and now the left side once more. Typically this wouldn't already be on the alignment rack, so it'd be a little bit quicker and easier without the step stool. Okay, so now our body line is nice and green. We can start with the right or the left rear or the left front. We're gonna grab this left rear while we're right here, and it's gonna be the same process. We just really want to make sure this phone is nice and level and consistent. And we're gonna go to this front left now. Okay. So we got both of our left side toe measurements, and we are going to go to the right side body panel again, because you can see that arrow has popped up asking us to take that reference. Okay, so those lines have turned green. And once again, we will come to the right rear. When you're putting this against the wheel, you just want to find something that's easy to replicate on all four corners. So where the tire meets the wheel is a good spot, or where the bang-on weights would get attached to the wheel is a good spot. This one doesn't have that lip, so it's going to be where the tire attaches to that wheel. So we have our measurements here. Again, I'm going to see if I can't also do this measurement right here again to get everything green. Okay, so that's all green. The right rear is flashing, so we'll just do this. Okay, so we have our measurements at this point. In the bottom right, you can see there's a toe precision selection. Right now it's under the 0.1 degree. We're gonna drop that down to the 0.05 degree and see what we have here. There is an option for 0.01 degree. When you select it, it prompts you and shows you that it's kind of coming soon. There are some options where you can order this device with an iPhone 13 that's calibrated to the specific 3D printed unit here. And again, that's where you're going to get the most accuracy, but there's an additional cost with buying an iPhone. So whether or not that makes sense is kind of up to you and your specific situation. But we have our toe measurements. So at this point, I want to go over to the Hunter machine and compare them side by side. Okay, we're back at the Hunter alignment rack. We have our measurements from the Gyroline as well as the Hunter. And, you know, I'm kind of conflicted with these measurements. Some of the corners are pretty dang accurate, like the right rear and left rear are pretty close. The front left is pretty dang close. We're at negative 0.05 degrees on our Gyroline and negative 0.06 degrees on our Hunter. So that's within 0.01 degree, which is fantastic. But that front right is reading 0.25 degrees positive on our Gyroline compared to negative 0.1 degrees on our, positive 0.03 degrees on our Hunter machine, which does have a decent amount of difference there. So by no means am I saying this tool is useless and has flaws. I think there is still a lot of potential for this tool. When you think about how this Gyroline measures toe in comparison to a professional alignment rack, you know, there is a pretty obvious difference. And the difference is I am not taking a rolling compensation with this tool here. All I'm doing is attaching it to the wheel at a specific point, and it's gonna take that degree based off the gyroscope in the phone. With the professional alignment rack, it has you mount the sensors, push the car backwards and then forwards again, and it's looking at that change in tow as it's moving to take into account, you know, if there is an inconsistency with the wheel or tire and where those sensors are mounted. Here, it's just a snapshot of what it is. So if the part of the wheel that you've attached to has a little bit of a burr on it, that's going to affect your reading. If you took your compensation or the wheels are cocked one direction or the other, and that rubber has a little bit of stress or tension on it, that's going to affect your reading as well. So I think moving forward, if there was a way to attach this phone and this Gyroline device to the wheel and do a similar rolling compensation, that would make a big difference, and it would increase the accuracy a lot, as well as make it a lot more user-friendly for our caster measurement. Because at this point, I would have to hold this against the wheel and have somebody else turn it left and right to try to get the measurement, and that's a bit cumbersome. So again, in the shop, it still has a time and a place, I think. You know, if the alignment rack's backed up and you just did a bunch of suspension work, you can use this to get it roughed in and pretty close so that when you do go put it on the alignment rack, now you're just fine tuning it, and it's going to be a lot less adjusting, a lot less time. Also, let's say we're going to remove struts. We could put this up against the rotor, get our toe measurement, caster measurement, replace the struts, and then tighten it back up where the measurements match the measurements from before you removed the original strut. And again, that's going to get you pretty close to where it should be so that when you're up on the rack, you're just fine tuning it and you can get it out. Like I said, this tool is still a very good value option. I mean, for 150 bucks right now and what it can do, I think there's a good potential, and I'm excited to see what they're able to do with it moving forward and the development that they're going to put into it, because like they say, they really are planning on developing it further. I mean, even if you have a lowered car, you know, a lot of modified and lower vehicles won't even make it up on the rack without, you know, scraping the bumper. So this is a good option for that. If it's some sort of, you know, vehicle you drive once in a blue moon, you're only going to put 100 miles on it a year, this is probably acceptable for something like that as well. So is it as accurate as the Hunter? Obviously not. I think we kind of had that assumption purely based off the cost, you know. Is there still a time and a place for this tool? Absolutely. And let's keep an eye on them moving forward. I'm Josh Whiteman for Garage Gurus. If you guys are interested in more videos like this, check out our website at gurusplus.com. And I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching.